It's the quarter-final round here at Masters Tour Bucharest, and it is a good one. We have one of the very best players from the United Kingdom, DeadDraw. Yeah, we're gonna look big about that. Oh, British casters over here.
I thought he meant me.
No, definitely didn't mean Lorinda. I'd have said something very different for Lorinda. Up against current Hearthstone World Champion, hunterace. And I was just talking to Derek about this, and we were saying we don't know where our allegiances lie here, because hunterace is awesome. He's a good friend to a lot of the casters, actually. He spends a lot of time hanging out with us, and generally, obviously, Hearthstone World Champion, we've got to support him to an extent. But DeadDraw from the UK, obviously, there's a little bit of national pride there. We only have one player currently in Grandmasters, that is Ball Control, obviously.
Who Derek just said was rubbish, effectively, by saying we've never had a good player.
Yeah, no, just brush past that. But DeadDraw is fantastic, and if he wins this tournament, or I believe if he comes second after Orange and the other European player and Totosh get defeated, then he's in. DeadDraw is our other EU GM.
UK or not UK, I think that DeadDraw deserves to be a GM. He's somebody a lot of people won't have heard of, because he started really he was up there on ladder getting ridiculous numbers of points for the longest time, but that goes under the radar. But towards the end of last year, he was just getting top 16s, top 8. He was one of those. He was in that bracket of people used to talk about, except he only did it from maybe October or September onwards. And then there's been 3 chances for him to shine this year. 2 Masters Tours, which he's already done well in 1, and 1 third-party event, which he reached the top 16 in as well. And so with the opportunities he's had this year, he is basically completely and utterly taken advantage of them. And I think even if this was just some player that was from not the UK, I think I'd still be saying I would love to see this guy make GM. And for this one occasion, I think hunterace can afford to lose one. And
that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Have a good GM.
It's not going to make... Okay, so what you're saying is that it's not like a life-changing thing for hunterace.
I mean, it's still an amazing... hunterace is fiercely competitive. He doesn't just want to win every time. He wants to build his legacy of... You know, there have been world champions before who've won 1 or 2 tournaments and been really good, and then sort of vanished a bit. Whereas hunterace doesn't want to do that. He just wants to keep beating people. Not only am I the world champion, but look, I can just keep beating you. So... Not am I the world champion, I'm the best world champion we've ever had.
I think that's a fair statement, actually. I think based on experience over the last year, I mean, Pavel really went from strength to strength, let's be real, after he won the world championship.
Well, Pavel's was weird, though, because everybody said he was lucky, so he had a point to prove.
That's true.
He wasn't accepted by the wider universe outside of just casters and players. Everyone else was like, he got lucky against Amnesiac. And Pavel just went, okay, win, who's lucky now? And they said, you are.
Yeah, exactly.
But he tried.
Well, we are going to see game 1, by the looks of things, DeadDraw on the Holy Wrath Paladin. Holy Wrath Paladin, again, a deck that hasn't changed dramatically. DeadDraw's build, interestingly, does not run Emperor Thaurissan, which is sort of the big difference with the deck recently. We've seen that appear. Emperor Thaurissan allows you to use the combo twice in 1 turn. It's 50 damage immediately, but we do see it cut here.
Yeah, or possibly in DeadDraw's case, never put in.
Yep, okay.
Because he played that deck quite a lot already.
Yep.
Maybe he just liked it and put Thaurissan in for a couple of games, said, don't need this, I know how this deck works without it. Interesting, though, very interesting.
Up against, this is one heck of a matchup to start these series with, up against hunterace on the Resurrect Priest. He is running, obviously, all the big cards that you'd expect. He's running N'Zoth. Unlike the Priest that we just saw from Eddie in the last series, hunterace is not running Hakar. Hakar essentially shuts down Holy Wrath Paladin because it shuffles more cards into the deck. The deck, which its whole goal is to empty the deck and make Shivala the only card there. Yep. So Hakar would have been great for this matchup, but ultimately hunterace deciding that against the general field, it's not quite strong enough. It's a very different philosophy than the version with Hakar, and I'm interested to see how it does in this series. Oh, I'm excited for this one, Neil.
Do you remember the memes from about 2016 about the differences about playing against Priest and playing against Warrior?
Okay.
You can't heal a Priest past 30.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the difference.
Okay.
That's, the Holy Wrath Paladin has a decent chance because of that.
That's true. That's true. That does make a big difference. I guess the thing the Holy Wrath Paladin can do with great difficulty is it can kill the Paladin first. But by then, the chances are the Holy Wrath Paladin, especially one as skilled with the deck as DeadDraw, will have just run out of cards by that point and just be winning the game immediately.
Yeah, and DeadDraw is one of those rare, strange people who practices right up to the last second. Most of the GM players, most of the top players who make regular flying visits to the top 8, top 16s of Masters Tours events, they tend not to play much on the day of the event, from what I've seen at least. But DeadDraw just keeps playing until the second he's about to go live.
Yep.
He is a nutcase.
Okay, here we go. So as you said, the Priest cannot heal past 30. Ironically, this is the version of Paladin that cannot deal more than 25, 26-ish in one turn. I mean, there is a way that the Paladin can hold back a true Silver Champion, hold back an Elven Archer, and do 30 damage. Like, it's possible.
And it's a very relevant thing. That's why one of the reasons, there's many reasons Elven Archer stays there, but that is one of the real reasons. It's not just a meme.
Definitely seems like a meme sometimes, though, doesn't it?
And the first time I saw it, I'm like, this is really funny.
Why is there an Elven Archer in the deck? Well, that's why. It's the difference between 29 and 30 damage. It can be, anyway.
And of course, you can put as many taunt minions up as you like. But unfortunately, I just do not care.
Take a look and see how much healing there is in hunterace's deck, because that could make a difference. Again, as this is not the version of Paladin that deals 50 in one turn, if DeadDraw does end up having to deal 25 and then passing, what can hunterace do to get out of that situation? Well, he's got the hero power, he's got 2 copies of Penance, he's got a Ziliax, he's got Cartoots. It's not flexible healing, though. It's not like healing that he can sort of just spend whenever he likes. So I think it's going to be tough for hunterace.
Just curious as to DeadDraw's start. Obviously, the simple version is just get loads of cards, but there's many other things going on as well. Chipping away, trying to get a bit of extra damage in, wasting mana for hunterace.
Yeah, that's true. I could be wrong here, but I don't know how relevant chip damage is in this specific matchup, because again, the Priest puts up so many taunts and does heal slowly over time. It feels like one of those matchups where the chip damage can be counteracted on quite easily.
I think it's irrelevant to a degree, but if you can make it so that the opponent feels it, maybe they have to burn a card they wouldn't have to.
Okay.
Excuse me. But yeah, I feel that it's not particularly relevant. It's just a case of maintaining your hand size, getting the hand size how you want it, dumping cards so you can play your Acolyte and not overdraw, because in an unfavoured matchup in particular, hunterace will probably try and overdraw him to get a chance of just winning the game. In a favoured matchup, the overdraw is not that relevant, but in an unfavoured, you are boosting your chances.
I hope you like my invention.
There's that Elven Archer we were talking about a few moments ago. Obviously, another potential use of the Elven Archer is to hit the Acolyte of Pain for an extra card draw at some point. But I'm interested to see if this is the matchup where DeadDraw is going to try and hold back the 30 damage to spend on one turn. One of the difficulties there is that hunterace runs so many taunts in his deck and has so many ways to get a taunt on the board. The play of Holy Wrath, Elven Archer, and True Silver to the face isn't necessarily going to be that easy to pull off.
Yeah, especially as it's hunterace. He'll see what you're doing at some point when you hasn't seen a True Silver for 100 turns and there is only one in the deck. And he'll just go, okay, I'll keep a taunt back because I need to. So he'll just counter that plan if it comes up. But 25 you 2 turns in a row is probably just good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd expect so. I really don't think, unless some real magic happens, I don't think hunterace can kill for 25 in one turn. I mean, that chip damage that I was joking about before, it's coming in thick and fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's helpful, but obviously there's enough healing in Priest, like you were saying, that it shouldn't matter, but there's no reason not to do it. You've got to dump this stuff out your hand anyway. You might as well do some damage with it. I
mean, Cartoot heals for 6. So as soon as that gets played, that's sort of undone everything DeadDraw has already done.
He's going to win with turn 7 Bloodlust, isn't he?
Ah, that's it. You found the line.
Just draw one of everything in your deck. Activate Zephyr's, bosh, Bloodlust.
Okay.
Done.
I'm down.
If that ever happens, it would be amazing.
Anyway, with Sylvanas, which means DeadDraw can deal a little bit more damage, but Sylvanas is a little bit more awkward in the long run. And also, again, I feel like this damage isn't really that important.
The things I used to do to not give a minion to Sylvanas owners rather than just kill it and get it over with.
Okay.
I don't know. I just tie myself in knots rather than just kill it. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's there. It's going to do it.
DeadDraw's already used a subdue as well. I mean, he probably just has to smack the face 4 times here.
Yeah, he's going to draw a card, I think, with Blood Mage. I wonder if he's going to try and get rid of most of his stuff before the Cartoots come down, so there's nothing for them to actually ever die to.
Okay.
But Mass Hysteria probably sorts them out anyway.
Yeah.
DeadDraw, by the way, for those who haven't seen him before, is very good at pacing the rope. Please don't let me down, DeadDraw. He will get to the rope quite a lot, but he starts playing stuff as soon as it starts burning, always, even if he's thinking.
Yeah.
Where someone like Zalay, for instance, we've seen him miss turns before where he's pushed it a little bit too close to the wire.
We've seen quite a few players do that, even over the course of this tournament.
Yeah, it's just a thing that happens. But DeadDraw does start quite early. And it seems to be always the same time. Just as the second he sees the fuse, he goes.
Yeah. He's gone ahead and banked the mana and played the Choose of a Champion, as there is no way for hunterace to remove it. And now I'm thinking, so Holy Wrath has 5. Bankers makes 7. Zephyrus, Silence, Choose Silver Elven Archer. That is 10 mana.
You know the biggest deal about DeadDraw having this board is he can stop hunterace killing him with hunterace's minions.
Okay.
It's like a slight defense.
Yep.
The way he loses is probably getting just beaten down by a pile of rubbish.
True.
So you put your own pile of rubbish out there to stop him from doing that. So it's not been about him putting the damage through. It's been about him having a defense against anything that may come along.
Sure.
And that way you save your removal spells, you save your timeouts. Because at the moment there's 8 damage there. That's kind of scary if you haven't got a way of killing anything.
It's the smallest and most pathetic defense that I've ever seen, but yeah, it's a defense.
You never know. Invention might be good.
Let me think.
It's a pretty grim defense.
Whoa.
Still Zephyrus.
Yeah, so plan B is deal 25, then Zephyrus him, right? Maybe that's DeadDraw's plan A.
Maybe he just wins now. Oh no, it's in the
Shivana's
left-hand side, unfortunately.
Imagine.
Imagine another one came out.
I think we'd have a problem. I think we would have a problem then. Yeah. So Katarina would bring back Convincing Infiltrator. I believe it's the only minion on hunterace's side that has been destroyed this game.
Care to dance with death?
We're getting to that point where DeadDraw may have to play that Pyromancer with the equality, but I don't think he minds so much. Oh no, sorry, Cartoot Defender, of course. How did I forget that? Oh no.
That's just what I heard you say. Did you say
I said
Infiltrator?
Convincing Infiltrator, yeah,
Okay.
I did. No, my mistake, and it's a big mistake too, because that's another 6 healing for hunterace.
Yeah, the plan's going to be something different to what the 50 damage plan.
Yep.
Quite clearly. He's got Chevaliers, he's got the Zephyrus. Get through your deck quicker. I think people use the Holy Wrath more and more freely than ever before. They've realised getting through your deck is far more important. He's down to only 8 cards in deck. He's getting to the line.
Holy Wrath Banker is 7. Zephyrus is 9. There's no 1 mana card that I can think of that deals 5 damage. There used to be a 2 mana card that dealt 5 damage.
Gone.
I must move quickly.
Blinding Light deal 5 damage if you
No.
switcherooed.
If you switch your...
Made all your healing do damage. Okay, so that's all been taken care of, and now business will resume as if nothing ever happened. And it starts.
Oh no, that's going to be oh my goodness, another Katarina. That's 2 resurrects every single turn if DeadDraw can't deal with this. He can play a quality Consecration again, but the Kartoot would survive. Hunterace is back on full health. Ugh.
So he just lifted the Zephyrus. I wonder if he was checking that that yellow glow was a yellow glow.
It is. That is a yellow glow. That is the first Consecration picked up. Only 5 cards left in the deck, so it had to happen sooner or later.
He's planning in his head, because you can see him lifting cards in certain orders, like timeout followed by Zephyrus, which I think he was clearly thinking about there.
Do you think him touching his cards is something Hunterace is going to notice?
I think Hunterace notices everything. It's insane.
The Hunterace is too busy. Looks like he's writing something down
Let me
rather than looking at the screen, keeping notes.
Yep, that's pretty much the order of the cards he was touching.
Baleful costs 4. That's pretty awkward. Now Zephyrus cannot be played in the same turn as the combo. Not that that was necessarily good enough anyway.
Yep.
Elven Archer still can. The ideal 30 damage combo is still possible. There might be a set scenario in which Hunterace fills up the board. DeadDraw can go Zephyrus, Mass Dispel. Hunterace can't clear any of his own stuff to put another taunt up, and then DeadDraw wins with the combo. I guess that's possible. I don't think it's going to work against Hunterace, though.
Yeah, he's not going to trick him.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 cards left. We'll find out in 2 turns.
This game's drawing to its conclusion one way or another.
This is the final quarter-final, as Dan put it earlier. I think that's the reason that we say 4th quarter-finals. But I just didn't say that.
I should say the last quarter-final. Oh well.
Burns and Consecration.
Just doesn't matter, does it?
Doesn't seem to.
I guess it does matter. There's an
He did
equality
sort
and
of clutch his head as if it...
but then he's got pyro quality and he's got Consecration and Shrink Ray, so there's no you know, he can still use all of these cards efficiently. He needs to clear this board. It's Hunterace is just gonna kill himself.
let me think.
Really difficult deck to play. It's strange because it's a really easy deck to win with if you get the right matchup, no matter how bad you are. But when you get to play against really good players, you don't win at all unless you're really good at the deck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get rid of that 28 damage.
And what have you got, Hunterace? What have you got for us?
Just taking a look at Cloning Gallery. It's difficult to work out what's still in the deck and what's been summoned by various effects. Interesting little tech in Hunterace's deck that we haven't pointed out. Don't think it's going to be relevant here, but he runs a Mossy Horror in his priest.
So if you're expecting that very aggressive meta...
Pretty good against Shaman, yeah.
He's pretty good at calling metas. I mean, okay, it wasn't complicated to realise there's going to be a lot of Shaman, but he's pretty good at those little tweaking things that help with the meta. Just calling it's going to be an aggro meta wasn't trivial.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how many people are going to think 1 or 2 levels ahead.
This is potentially where that extra Consecration could have come in handy. The one that was burned. So if DeadDraw does Mass Dispel this, problem A is that Hunterace can trade one of his minions into the Zephyrus. And problem B is that that's a lot of damage that's going to hit DeadDraw in the face.
Yep.
Only 23, actually. If DeadDraw could lock this board out by silencing it, that's 23 damage going into DeadDraw's face, still alive, and then he could just win with a 30 damage... Wait, sorry, no, there's no Elven Archer.
I wonder.
I think it was played earlier. Now I think about it.
My mistake. Well, there
I
you
mean,
go.
well, I can't tell you when it was played, but I normally can, so we must have been gossiping about something.
Yeah, and I guess Zephyrus Master Spell Timeout would have potentially been an option too.
Still, all the things that we're expecting to see, we are seeing now. Capture the board.
Yep.
Often forgotten about Chevalier that you do just get the board for a turn as well when you play it.
That is true.
As long as you set it up correctly.
Like, DeadDraw just needs a little bit of bonus damage for next turn.
Yeah, 5 would be nice.
Yeah, right. Given that he's got the True Silver Champion equipped as well. So for Hunter Ace, he has to not only clear this board, but also protect himself from that True Silver Champion.
Yeah.
Because, again, Holy Wrath is 5, Battle Bank is 2, Zephyrus is 2, Lightning Bolt can come from that Zephyrus and be played immediately. So that's 28 damage from the hand next turn for DeadDraw.
Could backstab face.
No. 28 damage from the hand next turn for DeadDraw. He literally needs 2 damage to stick on the board and he wins the game. I don't think there's anything that deals more than Lightning Bolt.
It's a fair. It gets the point across anyway. I think it is the correct explanation. Exactly. Clearing.
He's got Zilliax.
He has got Zilliax.
And so Zephyrus can silence it, but that's still only 29 damage. Shivala, Banker, Holy Wrath is 25, True Silver, Zephyrus, Silence, True Silver. I can't...
He's going pretty quick. Have we forgotten the card exists?
The second Shivala deals with it.
Yeah.
And it's got Divine Shield, so the Zilliax lifesteal doesn't go off.
Yeah. There you go.
That's going to do it. Well, there you go. DeadDraw does see the line eventually. Even Zilliax, not enough to put a stop.
DeadDraw saw the line. We saw the line eventually.
We saw the line eventually.
Yeah, you worked it out. It's just the second Chevalier.
I was
the
close,
shield,
but yeah.
the Divine Shield was the...
It's the Divine Shield was the kicker that I'd missed. Wow, amazing play from DeadDraw there. Going 1-0 up in this series. DeadDraw certainly seeing the lines. That leaves DeadDraw with his Rogue and his Aggro Shaman. You know, 2 decks that I think anyone would be happy with in this tournament. They have been 2 of the best performing decks.
Yeah, the Rogue, I think, in this match isn't so good. I think maybe the loser will be the one who loses 3-2 because their Rogue lost.
Okay.
That's kind of how it feels.
Okay.
It's by no means bad. I mean, it's not even underdog against some of them, but the way matchups tend to work out, it just feels to me like the Rogue mirrors the big one here.
I'm just thinking for a second. Surely Hunter Ace could have solved that previous turn.
I don't think he had any other things.
Well, he had Psycho Pump.
Right.
Which, if Zilliax was 100% Hunter Ace losers, Psycho Pump could have brought back Cartoot Defender. It wasn't necessarily going to happen, but then the Cartoot Defender would have healed for 6.
Is the ordering going to work?
I think so.
You just trade, put Hunter Ace on 30, then do the damage. You let him heal back to 30, and then you do the 4, 6 to 31 or something.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, no, you're right. Okay. No, Hunter Ace couldn't have solved that. That was, just such a fascinating set of interactions. Okay, moving on. So, DeadDraw with the Rogue and the Aggro Shaman. You said that you think Rogue is going to struggle a little bit in this series. Why do you think Rogue is going to struggle specifically against...
I mean, I just prefer the Shaman against the Rogue in general. They both got Shaman, so that's one of the Rogues that's going to go down. They are slightly different Rogues. Hunter Ace is playing the Shark version.
Right.
And what might be important is how that matches up against the more regular version. It's 1 card difference, so the answer is probably rather the same. But I just feel that they're both going to come down to having to play their Rogue. Again, it's not at all certain, but now the Holy Wrath Paladin's out the way, that's kind of the target that Hunter Ace would have liked to get the Rogue into, gone. And all of his decks are good against DeadDraw's Rogue. So the Rogue mirror could end up being a big deal. Whoever gets their Rogue through could be a big favourite.
Okay, well, it is going to be Hunter Ace's Rogue up against DeadDraw's Shaman. Here we go. DeadDraw 1-0 up. And again, gotta hammer this point home. If DeadDraw comes in second place or better in this tournament, assuming Totosh doesn't win, DeadDraw will become a Grand Master next year.
Yeah,
and that is life-changing.
Certainly is. And again, he'll be good for it. I think the sample size isn't huge, but it's so consistent it doesn't matter.
Yep.
You don't fluke 6 or 7 tournaments in a row.
Does hit that approximately 30% on getting a minion from another class, so Vendettas are both active. That's going to be a little problematic for DeadDraw. DeadDraw may struggle to get something to stick to the board this game.
Yeah, if this gets rolling, and like you say, hunterace has got decent stuff, but DeadDraw can take it steady. The rogue doesn't kill you that quickly, usually, even this more aggressive version.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the shark in there, where they're going to go for value. As long as you keep things under control, it doesn't matter if you're level for a little while. Because the rogue just can't deal with the wide board.
Yep.
If you go, some things, doesn't really matter what they are, evolve. I mean, hunterace can go backstab, vendetta, waggle, pick your thing, but that's his hand gone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Spirit of the Frog drawn now as well. No overload cards for DeadDraw, though, in his hand. Let's see what DeadDraw actually has spell-wise. So, yeah, he's got the Mutate, the Evolve, the Lightning Bolt, Voltaic Burst, Soul of the Murloc, and Lightning Storm, actually. So, DeadDraw does go all the way up to 3 mana. We've not seen many Lightning Storms run naturally in the deck.
Probably quite a big deal as well against the rogue. He's going to have to kill you with minions eventually.
I mean, DeadDraw can just afford to play nothing this turn if he wants to. Spirit of the Frog, if he plays it next turn, he can play Thunderhead the following turn with Mutate, and also with potentially a Lightning Bolt or Voltaic Burst drawn. So there is some merit to just holding back.
Yeah, I mean, and also if hunterace goes too far, this is something hunterace is, another thing that hunterace is really good at. The Sea Giant, you can make it so you just get your Sea Giant down a load of stuff in one turn. But hunterace will be playing around that. It sounds insane. The first time you see someone play around a Sea Giant, you're like, what? That's amazing. But actually, it's relatively common at this level.
Yeah. DeadDraw goes ahead and plays it, though. If he draws a Zap next turn, that could be huge. In the meantime, hunterace does now have Blink Fox available, and really not that much else to do. Listless Mummy isn't that great when there's no minion to attack into.
Hex is nice. Yeah, Hex is really nice. On top of all the other removal he's already got, obviously he's not putting any pressure on, but he's alright for a while. The Evolve is 2 or 3 minions, it's not like 7 or 8 that matter when you've got the other things hanging out. Both of them, it's weird because DeadDraw's drawn the DeadDraw almost, the minion-free hand, and hunterace has drawn all his removals, so they just sat there looking at each other, waiting for something to happen, and next turn is where it all kicks off for hunterace. But DeadDraw is just trying to plot through.
I'm still really interested in the decision to go ahead and play Spirit of the Frog on turn 3. Like, I feel like he may have been able to hold back.
So what I always say when that happens, when it's somebody who's good, is like, when would he have played it had he not played it on 3? He's expecting to play Thunderhead on 4.
Well, again, you play this on 3. You end up with a 1 mana overload in your hand. You play Thunderhead on turn 5. You play it with the 1 mana overload. That was sort of my theoretical sequencing of this game. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to be disagreeing with DeadDraw really.
Because now, if he had this plan originally, he either draws some cheap spell, which is what he was hoping to do. Obviously, that's why he's done it. But if he doesn't, he's got a 4-drop on the board because he's evolving a 3-drop.
Yep, that's true.
Alongside the other bits and pieces.
That's true. Unfortunately, Questing Adventurer not quite ideal here, as the backstab, the dagger, and the minion on the board alone deal with it. And also, obviously, there's 2 Vendettas still, which are going to completely flip this game state over at some point this game whenever hunterace decides to pull the trigger.
Yeah, he's got enough stuff now. A lot of his turns will be revolving around working out what DeadDraw has, because this must be weird to Hunterace. Very little was happening here. DeadDraw was making it apparently. If you can't see his hand, it probably looks a little bit strange. So Hunter will be figuring out what he's up against, so he knows how to go about his own business. He'll already seen how to clear boards and things like that. He's just working out what's going on. That's why he's so slow as a player, because he doesn't just think about the things he can do. He thinks about the things that are going on in the bigger picture. Not even necessarily planning turns ahead. He's just trying to work things out. So eventually he'll work out, oh, that's such and such a card. And things like keeping the Sea Giant out of range, all that will have been in that calculation.
Absolutely. Keeping the Sea Giant out of range is going to be difficult, though, with this hand that DeadDraw has now, with Voltaic Burst and also Desert Hare, both playable. That's 5 more minions that can hit the board for 4 mana. Obviously, Sea Giant not quite playable in addition. The mana doesn't quite line up, does it? Because Soul of the Murloc can't be played with Desert Hare either. Again, Thunderhead can't be played with anything.
Did you hear Raven earlier saying that you always draw a secret the turn before Mysterious Challenger?
I actually agree with him.
You always play Evolve and then draw Desert Hare. Seems to be the other side of that coin.
Yeah.
What to do?
But yeah, like you're saying, it doesn't quite add up to where he wants to be right now.
There is little time.
And Hunterace is just getting close to being ready to go if you look at his hand. One more mid-sized minion he can start to curve through quite nicely through the middle game. Oh, and DeadDraw just passes effectively. Realises that next turn's pretty good.
Next turn's good. This turn for Hunterace is also very, very good, with Shadow Step drawn as well. Have we talked about Tiamat yet?
No.
So Tiamat is in this sort of test group's rogue as a bit of a mainstay, and it's just the top end. It's there instead of Myra's Unstable Element and that sort of type of card. He's running instead Leroy Togwaggle Tiamat as the top tip of the curve.
Interesting interaction here is back to the Sea Giant. The way this is going, DeadDraw's almost daring to Hunterace to play something else.
Okay.
He can play one more minion. He's saying to Hunterace, I've got Sea Giant, so I am telling you, you can't play more than one more minion.
Okay.
Because I'm going to Sea Giant you. It was almost a deliberate, it wasn't, I don't think that was the only reason, but I don't think he minded transmitting that message, because Hunterace doesn't know if he's got it or not. All Hunterace knows is he can't go too wide.
So Hunterace is going to do the opposite and take a minion back.
Yeah. And there you go.
But let's see. So if we'll take Burst plus Thunderhead, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minions for 5 mana. No, it's still not playable. Does it Hare plus Voltaic Burst? Also, it's 5 minions for 4 mana. Still not playable.
He's good, this kid, isn't he?
Yeah, that Shadow Step did make all the difference.
He's good at this game.
So I guess it's going to be this. Voltaic Burst, Soul of the Murloc. Oh no, this plus Kobold Lackey plus Soul of the Murloc. Just to try and get stuff to stick. Again, Rogue struggles at dealing with wide boards like this.
Yeah, and I keep on about this stupid Sea Giant, even though it's going to get hexed as soon as it comes down anyway. But this also pretty much guarantees he gets that finally down next turn, alongside that wide board, alongside the Bloodlust. And suddenly the Shaman from where we're sat is in a pretty good spot.
It is. Running out of stuff, though. If this Bloodlust doesn't get the job done,
Sure.
I don't know how he does get the job done.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Another Evolve Hare or another Evolve anything is quite often the way. But it certainly becomes a lot more tricky, because this Rogue is very value-ridden, we can see, but it's also got quite efficient minions in hand. Hunterace can turn it around very quickly when he chooses to. Obviously, in general, we're talking about playing around Sea Giants, but there's also the Mogres in there as well.
I can hear some clicking. It must be DeadDraw. No, it's not you. It must be DeadDraw because Hunter Ace is playing right now. But I can hear someone like clicking the mouse like crazy. You know, like when you tap on the screen when you're like getting anxious or whatever. Like I'm sure I can hear some clicking.
I don't get anxious. I just win.
Ah. What are you doing on the casting desk, Ben? We don't win. We're not winners
I
here.
hadn't won ever by the time I got here, but yeah,
Okay.
I just keep trying. Okay, Hunter Ace finally committing
Head C giant
some
time.
bits and pieces. It's everything time, but there's no evolve. But it's everything else.
Yeah, DeadDraw can play anything he wants now.
And that was the point of the whole early game, like both of them trying to either force down their DeadDraw's cheating minion or stop it happening. And now Hunter Ace has got to the point, well, okay, I can't stop it anymore, so I'm going to do my game plan now, which is get in your way, make some good stuff, and try and kill you. And with the Bloodlust in hand, DeadDraw is just going to try and set up so he's got so much in hand next turn. Obviously, the Mogo's not particularly good. Dan's having a bit of a listen.
I can still kick. Maybe I'm going crazy. Just ignore me.
Okay,
I'm still clicking.
I shall accept that
But now
opportunity.
DeadDraw's playing, so either Hunter Ace is also clicking, or I've just lost it.
Now I want to know who's clicking. But the whole plan is clicking into place here for DeadDraw.
It is.
Bloodlust and 7 things is a very good way forward, and Hunter Ace can deal with some of these. He obviously knows what this setup almost certainly means.
Alright, so where are we at here? Backstab, that deals with a thing. Vendetta deals with a second thing. This minion on the board deals with a third thing. So at the very least, Hunter Ace can deal with the 3 rightmost minions completely.
Okay.
And that
Seems
means
good.
25 damage with the Bloodlust. If only the 4 leftmost minions survive, that's 24 damage with the Bloodlust. That's not enough to finish Hunter Ace off. Obviously, Hunter Ace want to do better
it
than
is,
that.
right? That,
Yeah.
if
yeah,
he does
yeah,
that,
yeah.
it's enough to finish him off over the course of 2 turns. There is the hex on the Sea Giant. Looks like where you want to
Yes,
start to some degree.
I mean, I was going to say, like, in addition to everything I just mentioned, the Backstab and the Vendetta only uses 0 mana, so he can do all of that without spending any mana. See him out with Wind Fury Rush. We'll also deal with Thunderhead and then one of those Desert Hares. Not the Death Rattle, just the hair itself, but still, that's another minion gone. Dramatically once more reducing the Bloodlust damage.
Choose soon.
Okay, cool. Just for a minute, I thought he was going to do something else. Taking out one of the things that doesn't have Death Rattle.
Doesn't even need to play the Vendetta now, actually.
Doesn't need to, but I think he'll choose to.
In that case,
But he
is
doesn't want to just
Okay.
stop lethal. He actually wants to have a chance to get back into the game afterwards.
in that case, he's holding back the Backstab. I wasn't sure which one he was holding on
Right.
to.
Not lethal.
I count 23 with the weapon.
Okay. I just okay those and let people take their chance.
22, sorry.
That sounds better.
Close enough.
And now you've got to work out if you want to play the Bloodlust this turn anyway or not. You probably don't. But sometimes you just got to get that damage into face.
I mean, you probably... Like, DeadDraw's never going to make a board bigger than this now, right? I
Right.
think you do bank the damage here. You deal everything you've got. And now, as I skim through DeadDraw's deck, he's got 2 Lightning Bolts. They could be lethal. He's actually... Oh, he's going to trade.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't so sure, because I was realising he's going to have to try and make some space. This also means he can't totem.
He's also got 3 hits left with the Lickum. So now I guess the big question is, does the Lickum go into the minion, or does this all go face?
Looking at your breakpoints, do I think my opponent, who just went and spent the whole of last turn desperately killing things, can kill my 11-8? In which case I try and just win with that, or do I think maybe he's got a Hex in his hand, because rogues always have, right? Hex, obviously.
Togwaggle drawn. As you said, Hex, unfortunately for DeadDraw, is going to be a little bit of a nasty surprise for him. And then, after stabilizing this board, Hunter Ace can pretty much lock this game down, I think, with a Lackey and with Heist Baron Togwaggle.
So many.
Yeah, it does look like that. Still be a few draws for DeadDraw. But looking like he's going to be down to very little indeed. Keep looking for the reaction here when he sees the Hex. So, oh, that's how I don't win this game. I see now.
Oh, man. Obviously, this can only attack the once because it's not being destroyed, but I don't think that matters too much. Again, DeadDraw really going to struggle to put much together here. Mutate, I guess, is reasonable. What 4-drop could this turn into? Quarterfinal Elite, maybe? No. No. No.
No.
No.
So all hunterace has to do is
Leroy? Yeah,
win the
Leroy.
game.
That's what he has to do. Leroy Jenkins, hunterace ties up this series. The score is now 1-1. And from hunterace having a little wave, it looks like we're going to have a little restroom break in a moment.
Yeah, there'll be some sort of pause coming by the look of things.
We need to get, these players are humans. These series are quite long.
Are you sure about that?
hunterace, believe it or not, as good as he is at Hearthstone, he is a human being.
Demand a robot test.
How do you do a robot test? And can I do one
ask
on
him
you?
if he's a robot.
Are you a robot? No human can keep that many stats in his head, Lorinda.
You think I keep them in my head? There's this. We'll talk about the science about it another time.
Okay, either way, hunterace manages to claim the victory with his rogue, shutting out the shaman, really preventing DeadDraw from doing anything after locking down that board. That leaves hunterace with his own aggro shaman, and once again his N'Zoth priest, which he lost against the Holy Wrath Paladin with earlier. So, yeah, N'Zoth priest or Resurrect priest. I've been calling it N'Zoth priest. I guess others have been calling it Resurrect priest. It's one of the more surprising decks of this tournament to me, and it's really come out in full force. And we're seeing as many, if not more of them, as combo priest in the top 8. We're going to take a very quick break and come back to this conversation in a moment. Like I said, I think the players just need to take a moment to calm down after what has been quite a long start to the series. But don't go anywhere. More hunterace and DeadDraw coming up after this. It's Masters Tour Bucharest, and it's the 4th quarter-final game between DeadDraw and hunterace. There you go. That was a little less confusing, wasn't it?
I understood all of that.
4th quarter-final game. Yeah, the score is 1-1. hunterace has his aggro shaman and his N'Zoth priest left. DeadDraw has his rogue and his aggro shaman. So we could be looking at some fast games coming up.
Could be. But hunterace and DeadDraw aren't particularly rapid players, even in a 4 or 5 turn game, and I wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest. I get slightly infuriated when I see the likes of Casey, who are terrific players, occasionally, very occasionally, make a mistake because they play too quickly.
Yep.
It makes me go a little bit twitchy.
It's one of those things that we talk about a lot, and we also point out that some players are so used to playing quickly that they start to make mistakes when they slow down.
This is true.
You know, they second-guess themselves, etc. But then the counter-argument to that is that, okay, well, when you're playing at home, you need to train playing more slowly, because giving yourself more time to think is objectively better.
And there is also the thing that somebody like Casey can pressure somebody like hunterace by just throwing the turn straight back to them.
True.
Saying, I know you like to think, go think, go think, go think, and, you know, you run them out of time.
Yeah, you don't get to think on my turn anymore. Boom, boom, done.
It's not as clear-cut as I make it, but my personal preference is to watch the players grinding it out. And I know chat love to watch people going to the rope. It's their favourite thing.
Again, we've narrowed down most of the Hearthstone Grandmasters for next year. We have the Americas players and we have the APAC players. We have one European player, Falcane, the winner of Masters Tour Seoul. We are looking for one more European Grandmaster. Totosh, DeadDraw are both in the running. Zim, who came second at Seoul, is also in the running.
He feeling today?
Yeah, he's going to be watching this at the edge of his
cheering
seat.
for people to get knocked out.
Yep, he's
what a guy!
Definitely wanting hunterace to
It's
win
like Sottle's dream job. It's like sitting at home pointing at people hoping they lose. Or in his hotel room or wherever he is.
Just praying for bad RNG on a certain side.
But, you know, he's
trying to break into Blizzard and pull those levers.
And Zim has done very well in the events, obviously get that money, but also in qualifiers. He's just done good all around.
Yeah.
And wish everybody involved in this sort of shakeout today the best of luck, whether you're watching or whether you're relying on others or whether you're trying to win yourself.
Absolutely. All right, so DeadDraw has the Sludge Slurper ready to go straight away. Going to go ahead and bank the Lackey right now. Spirit of the Frog ready to play on turn 3, and that's when things are going to start to get out of control for him. On the other side of things, though, hunterace sort of just has to survive.
Yeah, and it's a weird sort of survival. There's turns where DeadDraw's perfectly safe making a big board, and there's turns where he's not safe at all making a big board. They're not necessarily as linear as some. It's gappy.
Yeah.
You've got to pick your moments. Obviously, Light Bomb versus Evolve is an interesting one because you evolve the turn before the Light Bomb and close your eyes and hope you don't get 5 5s.
Yeah.
4 6s, yes, please. We want some of those instead.
Yeah, that's true. Gotta just wait patiently as possible. To be fair, 5 5s that are also restoring your health for 5 every turn, they're not so bad.
Yeah, it depends which 5 5s they are. But yeah. But then if you get as far as turn 9 as the Shaman, slowly but surely you just get into a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
A mess, in fact. A mess. Troublesome mess.
Now, to Spirit of the Shark or not to... Sorry, Shark? Frog. To Spirit of the Frog or not to Spirit of the Frog?
Into Coin Evolve. Into
Coin Evolve. That is the question. You just go ahead and play it now. Looks like DeadDraw's considering it.
I think you want to get it going. He's probably doing some sort of haphazard math as to, do I think I'll get about 7 attack? What does 3 lots of 7 attack get me? They get me 21. Is that enough?
Of course, he doesn't have Evolve in his hand, though. And there are, as we established, other 1-mana spells. There's Lightning Bolt, there's Voltaic Burst.
But you can pick the Evolve from... Oh, I see what you mean, yeah. He's not guaranteed to get it.
Yeah. He's got 3 chances, though. He can play the coin. He can't really play the Zap. It's coin mutate, really. And ideally, he wants to mutate after the Evolve to pick up whichever was the dud option.
Looks like he's going to go for a Soul of the Murlocs next turn. That's a reason to postpone all this.
Yep.
Because then you can coin, evolve, Soul of the Murlocs, etc. if you do hit, or if you miss. And that way you've got more stuff hanging around going into the Light Bomb turn. I keep talking about that turn because that seems to be the swing point in the game. How the Light Bomb turn goes is how you're leading into. Am I trying to recover before turn 9, or am I trying to finish them off before turn 9?
Light Bomb feels like the weakest of the removal spells for Priest
Yes.
at the moment, because it's so you can play around it far more easily than you can play around Mass Hysteria.
Yeah, and again, there's playing around it and just putting a load of stuff out there and evolving it and hoping you get good stuff is kind of playing around it. Of course, the math says you'll get some lucky and some unlucky.
Yep. But now,
Probability.
I'll take
That's how
Burst
it
into
works.
Soul of the Murloc is an option. It's hard to turn that one down as well.
Yep, just doing it in this order to not get rid of the Death Rattle.
No,
Always little time.
no evolve there. Or even going to zap to look for the
Yeah.
evolve. Wow. Finds it.
Shoots, he scores.
There was only, I think, Voltaic Burst other than this left in the deck, so it was more likely than not to find it. Can follow up with Soul of the Murloc. Now, the only issue really with playing the Zap this turn is that it does mean he can't Bloodlust next turn.
Sure.
If he held back the Zap, he would have been able
I
to.
think he's okay
but-
for that. Obviously, we can see Light Bomb, but that's why you want the Soul of the Murloc down, so you've got things surviving through the Light Bomb into the next
Absolutely.
turn. The Bloodlust then does even more damage. Very different to the last game where he had to consider Bloodlusting for a mere 9,
Yep.
because that was the most he was going to get. This game, he's got 12 anytime he wants.
Now, what DeadDraw can do is hit with the Lickum, Lightning Bolt away this minion, and then, oh yeah, okay, one of his minions dies, sure, but the next turn he's only overloaded for 1, he will be able to squeeze in the Bloodlust.
That seems good. Probably now he's drawn the second Sea Giant, he's having a bit of a think about how to play double Sea Giant next turn.
Yep.
And other things. Whatever those other things might be. Oh my.
Second Soul of the Murloc. Okay, he's saying, Hunter Ace, go ahead, clear my board. It's only going to get bigger.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised he didn't trade in the minion first, see what gets destroyed, then Soul of the Murloc the second time. Because after this trade, 2 Murlocs come out,
Uh-huh.
whereas before he could have sort of protected one more Murloc. I
He
don't know.
kind of protects it by 2 Murlocs coming out in the first place, though. As
Sure.
it has actually happened.
Yep, true.
But it's looking really good for him. This setup is very hard. I mean, what do you do about it? Do you leave him with the things and wait for them to get evolved or just buffed, or do you kill them and then you end up with more things to kill?
I think he has to play the second Convincing Infiltrator, or maybe Ziliax. Then again, if he's safe from Bloodlust, he could just play Soundhoof Waterbearer.
I mean, they're safe and they're safe. Yeah, there is direct damage in this deck as well if you get hit.
Right, so if he plays the Waterbearer, it puts him back up to 29. Then the damage comes in. What's that? 5, 10, 14, 18. 18 damage comes in from the Bloodlust.
Yep.
Okay, down to 12. The Waterbearer is still alive unless something traded into it. Then that heals him back up again. So it's not that bad. Honestly, I think any of his minions are probably fine here.
Yeah, that's what he's going to go with.
Because the reason I like this so much is it's sort of almost the lowest value minion being played. It's the one you don't care about.
Sure.
Yes, it adds it to the res pool, which could be a problem later on, but like he's completely safe at the moment. And DeadDraw probably has to bank the Bloodlust here, unless he can somehow make it bigger.
He's got the Soul of the Murlocs to make it bigger
He's
still.
got 2 copies of Soul of the
Yeah,
Murlocs
he's
on
in.
the 3
He's in no.
minions.
So the question I'd ask you here is he likely to make it worse anytime soon?
True.
Probably not. It might be a turn where it's
Okay,
worse.
so in that case, he can lick him and Lightning Bolt the minion. Or maybe he wants to trade in one of these 3 right
Yeah,
minions.
that's what I'm
The
wondering.
Reborn, he can trade in the Reborn.
Yeah, I wonder if he actually wants to trade one in here and just threaten Bloodlust lethal every turn from now until he can't do it anymore. So either he kills Hunter Ace or Hunter Ace sets up enough of a wall that
Yep.
even a 28-point Bloodlust doesn't do it.
Leckham definitely gets played. There's no real reason not to go ahead with that.
Always little time.
Oh, this is such a puzzle.
Yeah, there's a lot of planning of Sea Giants and things for future turns, and this turn going on, because you don't want to fill your board up and not be able to play a Sea Giant in some situations. Okay. And does set up lethal.
Yep.
That's what he's just going to keep doing every turn.
Okay.
At this point, hunterace knows what the dance is about.
hunterace has all of the sort of defensive minions available, apart from Kartu Defender, which arguably would be the best one.
Yeah.
Ziliax can go ahead and deal with one of these two minions without Death Rattle, though, I guess.
It's a horrible looking turn, though.
Forbidden Words can be played as well to deal with something else.
Oof.
Everything is pretty gross here for hunterace.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't want to... This double soul of the Murloc, which came from the timely playing on a fog on turn 3 and just using the coin to go through the deck.
Yep.
Has completely ruined the early game for hunterace here. And of course, he's... For someone of his ability, or for someone of anyone in this top 8's ability, you know, they know the situation here, they know the bloodlust is there, they know what the game is about. It's not like us, we've got to work out how the lethal happens and then work out where you're at.
Yep.
But he doesn't seem to be able to come to a conclusion. He's happy with a sort of bit of a wry smile there of, I don't think this is enough, but I haven't got anything else, and at some point the rope stops. Yeah, Forbidden Wording a 1-1.
Yep. It's
shows
fine.
you what he thinks of this situation.
It's fine. You know, the convincing Infiltrator deals with one of these minions, potentially deals with 2 if the Death Rattle goes off, potentially 3 if DeadDraw doesn't have a more efficient way of dealing with it. Thunderhead drawn by DeadDraw, but he doesn't have any overload means in the hand to develop more 1/1s. Sea Giant playable, but then what if the Infiltrator destroys it?
Yeah. You've got to kill that before you play your big stuff, I think. At some point, you dump the bloodlust if you don't. Like now, it's getting to the point where you might not get more. Not quite yet, but one more turn of this, and it's not going to be pretty for DeadDraw.
Mummy needs 5 more minutes.
There is little time.
Only 2 of them left now of those Death Rattle minions.
That light bomb is looking better and better. I mean, we're almost at Plague of Death territory.
He still
So
can't play the light bomb though. So he just dies.
DeadDraw sort of needs to win the game next turn.
Okay, full board.
What would happen if the light bomb was played? The 3/1 would develop 2 Murlocs. The 2/2 would develop 2 Murlocs. Thunderhead would survive. Yeah, light bomb's not good enough, you're right. Ooh, light bomb plus Shadow Word Pain though. So he could pain away the 3/2
to stop the Death Rattle going off properly.
Well, even if it did, you then light bomb anyway.
Either, whichever way you see it, yes.
Which leaves the 2 Murlocs on the board from the Monkey and the Thunderhead. That can't be lethal.
It can, but I think it's 1 or 2 short.
8, 9, 10,
like
11,
3
12,
short.
13, 14. Yeah, 14 damage. 15, 16, 17 at most from the Lickham.
Yeah.
Plus a Lightning Bolt. That could be lethal. Yeah, if Lightning Bolt's drawn, that would be lethal. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, hunterace is doing the math that you're doing, but he
shaking his
doesn't know
head.
there's no lightning bolt.
He doesn't know there's no Lightning Bolt.
I don't think.
Wait, no, we've seen
them
two.
both.
We've
so
seen
yeah,
them both, you're right.
He does know there's no lightning bolt.
We have seen them both. We just realised that at the same time then. Oh, okay. So it shouldn't be lethal. No Vicina either from DeadDraw yet. Vicina would have been very powerful this game as a like permanent bloodlust. Oh, the totem.
2, 4, 5.
That's lethal.
17.
That's lethal. With the Sludge Slurper
Yep.
buffing up the weapon, that is definitely lethal.
Yep, the buff is the 2 required. And hunterace winces.
That's going to do it. I think hunterace had worked out that this was coming. And there you go. DeadDraw takes his second game of this series, leading the way with a 2-1 score. hunterace has some serious work to do now.
1 game and 1 match away from becoming our next GM and from picking up a lot of loot as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's a lot of money associated
We're
with being a
serious prize
GM.
money now, yeah.
But just the money you take home, whether you're GM or not, if you do well in this event, is well worth having.
all DeadDraw has to do is win with his Rogue. Hunterace has Aggro Shaman and still that N'Zoth Priest, which has been struggling this series. 2 losses with that N'Zoth Priest so far.
Yeah, although the sort of Hunterace clan were talking about this being a very good deck. They're very happy with the Priest, I think.
It seems very strong from my perspective as well. That's sort of like, whenever I cast one of these tournaments, the first thing I want to do as soon as I get off the desk is go and have a go with one of these decks that I've just seen piloted perfectly, and I just sort of presume I'll be able to get wins with it as well.
Yeah, I just want to keep away from it as long as I can after I've seen it piloted perfectly. I think, I could do that. I don't need to prove it to anybody.
But this event, the deck that I sort of want to run off and play is the Priest. Like, I don't know, it's really, it's a cool deck.
It is. I've heard you call Aggro Warrior and N'Zoth Priest cool decks. I think this says a lot about you, Dan.
I mean, there are worse decks that you could call cool.
Okay.
Now I'm struggling to think of them. To be honest, there's no deck really at the moment that I think is universally hated. It's
No, there's a class that's universally hated, but not a single deck.
Okay. Anyways, let's jump into game number 4, potentially the last game of this series. Can DeadDraw take the 3-1 victory against world champion Hunterace? Let's find out.
He definitely can. Whether he will or not is the important part. And the Rogue, I was saying at the start, might be the sticking point, but I think it's going to work out okay for him. He's going to have 2 goes at it, which is absolutely plenty. Especially, I mean, I was picking the weakest deck. It's not like one of those where, oh my goodness, it's really hard. It was still in the sort of 40 percentages or even higher against each deck. So I feel like he'll get over the line. But you're playing the best player in the world under the most pressure you've ever been under. Although DeadDraw's reasonably calm, I suspect. I have seen him nervous.
He doesn't want to drop from this tournament at top 8 as well. Like 2 top 8s in a row in the Masters Tour, while impressive, is not where DeadDraw wants to be. He wants to see his score improving over time, I think.
Yeah, and it doesn't get you anywhere. You need to get those big hits to rack up the dollars, to rack up the being better than Zim situation.
Can't stress this enough. First place in this tournament, firstly, over $50,000 prize pool, prize money, amazing. That in itself would be life-changing for a lot of these players. But joining Grandmasters, you know, joining Grandmasters, again, only 2 players get relegated per season. That is, for the long run, you are a Hearthstone player at that point.
And depending on your view of the European Grandmasters, they'll either be very happy or very scared, possibly both, if DeadDraw goes up there, because it's an already pretty strong region, I would say. And certainly the addition of DeadDraw is not going to make it any easier for anybody.
Yeah. But all of that goes to say, or goes to show, how much pressure DeadDraw is under this game against the Hearthstone World Champion. There's a lot on the line here. Whereas for Hunterace, again, of course he wants to win. He's one of the most competitive players we've ever seen in Hearthstone, but there's not quite as much on the line. If he loses, it would suck, but that's not the end of the world.
I think he wants it the most. He's just drawn Evolve with hair in his hand. That is some serious concentration required to get that happening.
That shows he wanted it more, that's right.
Yeah. I was going to say, if he wants it enough, Evolve will come off the top.
So where are we then? We're at Hair, Coin, Evolve. No way you can play Mogu, Flesh Shaper on the same turn, but you can mutate any of these Evolves that go wrong. So it's looking really nice here.
Yep, you can wait a turn and go Hair, Coin, Soul or something, but I don't see really why you'd bother. You might want to try and get your Mogus down, in which case you might want to wait a turn, but...
You played the 3/4 drops here. I'm almost certain about that.
I mean, I feel that seems good. It's early enough in the game to put you in a good spot.
It's turn 3. Do you want to play A, a 3-mana minion, or B, 3 4-mana minions?
You do kill your turn 4 though.
Do you?
Kind of. Assuming that they get taken care of. If they just sit and chill on the board, then sure, your next turn is amazing, but in that world you're winning anyway.
Ooh.
So you do have to think about it, and that's what she does.
I want to mutate that too. Let's get rid of that. Oh, now it's 3/3 with Rush. It's still just a 3/3, but at least he got rid of a minion there. Honestly, not the most impressive set of 4 drops I've ever seen, and Hunterace is shaking his head. He's not happy either.
I think I saw him say something about 4 drops there.
You say like the worst 4 drops.
If I can lip read correctly.
The worst 4 drops, and then the worst 5 drop or something. It's not the worst 5 drops. Former champ is a 5 drop, Hunterace. Come on. You didn't get that unlucky.
I mean, he will be the former champ come later in the year.
That's true.
But DeadDraw now has to fight fair against a deck that isn't fighting very fair.
Okay, that 4-drop is worse than Hunter Ace's 4-drops.
No? Oh, yes, it's not. If he fails to find a secret by the end of the turn, then I'll agree with you.
Into Swashbuckler, into... No, there's no Shaman Secret. 5-drop? Okay, that's much better than
the
what Hunter
shape
Ace
you
got.
want. 4-6 is always nice. And all this stuff's just getting blown up anyway.
Yep. Floop left alone on the board. Floop with Lightning Bolt can deal with the 5-drop, but he's having to put a lot into that. Oh, Voltaic Burst, Mogu Flesh Shaper, Soul of the Murloc?
So first of all, he needs to assess how much he thinks DeadDraw has left. That seemed like a fairly trivial clear, so he can assume there might be more. Because there's Voltaic Burst, Soul of the Murloc first, and just then do the trading and
DeadDraw's
then
hand,
Lightning Bolt the 4-6.
DeadDraw's hand isn't that bad. He's got the Blink Fox, grabbing a Shaman card and then the Vendetta for free after that is a reasonable turn. Even the Wasteland Assassin, actually, as a 5-mana stealth reborn minion, it's not bad.
Just looking if you can Voltaic Burst, how much else you can get alongside it.
Well, Sea Giant is not playable. But
Mogu would be, but you wouldn't be able to get the Lightning Bolt in.
Mogu plus Soul is possible, or Mogu plus Lightning Bolt. You know, you pick your poison. He's going to pick the Soul of the Murloc.
Yeah, that was the tough part, I think.
Could full trade and end up with a board of Murlocs here, but it looks like he's going to value trade instead and leave himself with the most powerful board and most resilient board that he can.
Can DeadDraw trade blows again? Next turn he can, but at the moment, not so much. So the problem with Blink Fox is you want to play 2/3s next turn and it messes up your curve.
A place to hide.
Hunter Ace really not looking happy about this.
I mean, to be fair, does he ever? Like, he'll have seen a micro misplay. Maybe we miss a big misplay, it does happen, but he'll have likely seen a micro misplay that he's annoyed about. It does bother him. It's his curse that he has to carry around with him, that he can't not think about his own misplays that he considers misplays.
Yeah.
There's probably only about 10 people in the world qualified to listen to him when he talks about his misplays.
DeadDraw might be one of them.
Could be. He's certainly super good. And those few months where DeadDraw was starting to enter tournaments were required learning for him.
Okay.
A lot of people come from ladder and struggle in tournaments. DeadDraw didn't really have that phase for long. But even the likes of Muzzy, Frozen, when they first came from ladder, there was a few months of, oh, he's just a ladder grinder, and then, you know, got Sottle telling them Muzzy that he's still bottling it in tournaments, etc. When actually it just takes a little while to get used to building lineups and stuff when you're used to playing one deck at a time.
Yeah.
And DeadDraw's way, way, way beyond that stage now. He's certainly into the top pro player stage already.
Vendetta and SI7 Agent going to go ahead and deal with that nuisance of a minion. And DeadDraw slowly clearing up Hunter Ace's board piece by piece. Hunter Ace can play the Sea Giant this turn, can play it with a Hero Power, or with a Lightning Bolt, or with a Lightning Bolt Zap.
Or we can have stuff with a Snip Snap now he's drawn that.
He could play the Snip Snap. I don't feel like this is a Snip Snap turn. I mean, Snip Snap plus Zap, it doesn't clear enough. Whereas with Sea Giant, Lightning Bolt 3/3, trade both 1/1s into... Oh, no, sorry. He can't deal with the Reborn minion once it comes back. It's got Stealth again. So he'd, you know, Lightning Bolt one of the 3/3s, Zap and trade into the second 3/3, use the other Voltaic Burst to deal with the 4/1 and Sea Giant.
Just lumping out a Sea Giant. Just wants to save the Zap and Lightning Bolt for better things.
Well, he could still use the Zap, just don't use the Lightning Bolt this turn. He still deals with the 4/1 and the 3/3. Again, the 4/1 comes back as a stealth minion, which is really annoying.
And DeadDraw picked up something pretty cheap here to go with Edwin and Sap.
Nope. Swamp Queen Hagatha's really interesting, though. Swamp Queen,
Excuse me.
Swamp Queen Hagatha over the next few turns
Yep.
could actually make a huge difference for DeadDraw. That is potentially some value.
The Brotherhood shall prevail.
Hunterace can see that now he's struggling big time. He's out of Sea Giant range with the 2 mana that I was going to spend on a minion, which is actually much better spent on the weapon and killing this Murloc. Because you can't replay the Sea Giant because of the overload. You have obviously got the Snip Snap, but woo, you're taking 12 damage next turn. It's going to be hard to stop it without just dumping a hand.
Take Burst now makes Sea Giant playable.
That makes a big difference, actually.
It does make a difference. Deal with the 4-1, you keep a 1-1 alive, and you get the Sea Giant. DeadDraw has to trade pretty much everything into that Sea Giant if he wants to deal with it.
Sea Giant, Kill Giant.
Or in this case, maybe not Kill Giant. Maybe he just leaves it alive.
Yeah, he can just take a turn and dump the Hagatha on the board and say, okay, hit me once, and I'm going to try and win the game with the value from this Hagatha.
Yep, following turn he can play the Waggle Pick with the 5-mana minion that he gets from the Hagatha. So I quite like that. But with SI7 Agent drawn, that does mean the Waggle Pick could go face and the SI7 could deal with the Sea Giant alongside the minions already on the board. This is tough. Because alternatively, he could just put everything into the Sea Giant, including his dagger, and still play Hagatha.
He can also play Hagatha and initiate a race and just hit Hunterace for 7 in the face.
Okay.
Say, I know you haven't got much because you've been doing nothing the last couple of turns.
Yep.
I want to start racing you and you've got to trade into me. It's a little bit risky because there's healing totems available which start making a mess of your races and you might be wrong.
Hunterace's reactions, it's like he keeps thinking of possibilities and scenarios and just, they're giving him a headache. Here's the Hagatha. Hunterace really not happy about that. Bloodlust.
All 3 of those cards are playable. Interesting what he took.
I assume this is Forked Lightning. I can see the merit in Soul of the Murloc as well.
Depends what he took with the first one.
Yeah, I didn't catch what the first one was. He definitely took Forked Lightning. But he's going face. That's a Bloodlust, and he is ready to take this one home.
Yeah, he's just trying to win the race. Forcing the trades. And when you force the trades, you're the one who keeps getting the damage through while your opponent's trading away. It's not just one turn. For instance, if forgetting the cards in hand now, the 8-8 trades into the 5-5, you hit him for 7 more in the face while he's busy trying to take out your next minion. It adds up so much.
Hunterace really needs to think this one through. Rolling a spell damage totem would make a pretty big difference because that would allow Lightning Bolt to deal with Edwin. Then Lickham could deal with the 3-2, the Sea Giant could deal with the 5-5, and Rahayim ahead on the board again.
Sure.
Gonna instead go Snip Snap, Lightning Bolt by the looks of things.
He also has to weigh up how much damage he thinks DeadDraw has, because Hunterace can just go face as well. And go, okay, I'm going to win the race that you've initiated. Even if he doesn't think he'll win the race, he can pretend he thinks he's going to win the race.
Yeah.
Okay.
$15 damage now with the Bloodlust. That's 19 damage now with the Waggle Pick. 2 off lethal. But there's a Sea Giant on the board. 12 damage, staring DeadDraw down on the other side. Lickham does represent lethal the other way.
Bloodlust isn't a bad way to just get rid of the Sea Giant.
Well, that's true. You just Bloodlust and trade the 5-5 into the Sea Giant.
Yeah, and then just the rest can go face or not as you desire.
Waggle Pick can still go face. Edwin can still go face for 7.
Yeah. Let's do that. When you put it like that, Dan.
The issue is the Forked Lightning really isn't doing much. Actually, depending on where the Forked Lightning goes, I guess the Edwin could trade into the 8-8 and the 5-5 could stay alive.
Well, you can do it the other way. If you wanted to activate the Forked Lightning instead of go face, you just trade into a Snip Snap first. And then you...
Before they play the Bloodlust, yeah.
Yeah, and then you Bloodlust. But I think he just wants to activate face.
See where it goes. Okay, that's, I think, the worst scenario with Forked Lightning. The Snip Snaps being on 1 health don't seem to make much of a difference. But there you go, 10 health remaining now. Hunterace is dead on board.
Oh
Bloodlust the other way.
That's 13, 12, 11.
Yeah, 13 damage represented there. Licking with the 3, the Bloodlust with the... Yeah. It's one off lethal.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I just didn't look to see if there was overload. That's why I went from 13 to 11 and was just pretending I knew. I knew it wasn't 14 though.
13 damage. Well, yeah, I mean that's what's key. Really, there's not much of a difference between 11 and 13 right now, but
Never has been.
one more damage would be lethal. Hunterace. Oh, what a frustrating game for Hunterace so far. He has to start clearing up the board.
But he will have the 1/1s left over.
Does Bloodlust and trade both, maybe?
It's really close. DeadDraw does have this burglar. That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Hunterace right now doesn't want the Bloodlust minion to bounce and cast Bloodlust again. So I can definitely see the trades, but like you said, Hench Clan Burglar, that's going to be a lot of damage.
Just a word about the ordering there, that not many pros actually do, even to this day, even though they all know about it. He didn't know what he wanted to do with his final trade, because it's a very close call. So he did all the other stuff. He did the 3 damage to face, that was never changing. He did the easy trade, that was never changing. And that bought him an extra 20 seconds.
Shadow Step?
Surely. It's
So...
3 Edwins and a Waggle Pick.
Okay, so Hench Clan, SS7 Agent, Shadow Step, SS7 Agent, hit in the Waggle Pick, and then if he hits the 50-50, this is lethal.
Okay.
Don't think any of those are relevant. I guess Swarm of the Locusts could be played next turn if this doesn't end up being lethal. But yeah, okay. Wait. No, sorry, he doesn't have the mana. He's 1 mana off.
Twitch chat mana. He is 1 mana off.
So maybe bouncing the Burgle is better?
Or he can just clear up the things on the board. Oh, they're not going to kill him. He's fine.
Yeah, clearing up the things on the board is nasty.
He's fine. Actually, I think he just hit face with a Waggle Pick because you don't mind which one gets bounced to some degree.
Sure. I mean, using the SO7 to clear up the 1/1s actually seems good. You could even replay it and clear up a second one.
Yeah, I imagine he will.
There's like no way Hunterace kills him from this position now with only 2 minions. 2 minions, nothing overloaded, so the weapon is only dealing 1. Even Bloodlust still isn't lethal.
Chooses not to bounce something back. I understand that in that you've got to replay it so it can't attack next turn.
It needs a taunt, right?
But you do take away an out of another Waggle Pick.
Doesn't get the taunt.
No
That
taunt.
is lethal on board. Hunterace can't do anything about it. It looks like, Lorinda, we're going to see DeadDraw reaching the semi-finals here at Masters Tour Bucharest.
The GMs are queuing up to gatekeep him. Hunterace is going to fail. Next up would be Eddie, trying to keep him out of GMs.
Yes, and DeadDraw was saying to us just before this game started, well, if I beat Hunterace, I've got to go up against Eddie, and I don't think that's a lineup he's looking forward to facing all that much.
Right. But doing well then, take it 1 step at a time. Assuming the Sea Giant doesn't suddenly get taunt.
Hunterace just staring at this board, trying to work out if there's anything he can do to prevent this lethal, but there just isn't. He drops the concede. Your 4th quarter-finalist is DeadDraw. Again, he is, like you said, he's 1 match away from being a Grandmaster.
Depending how... Sorry, I misled you there. Depending how the top half goes as well.
Yeah, depending how Totosh does. It's literally just based off of that. Because if Totosh wins, then yes.
They might go head-to-head.
They might go head-to-head. Can you imagine if that's the finals? Like, literally, DeadDraw versus Totosh for Grandmasters.
All of the biscuits.
The other thing to point out, again, when we're talking about the European Grandmasters, is that Zim is still in the running if DeadDraw fails to get top 2, and if Totosh fails to win the entire event, then Zim will, because of his performance at Masters Tour Seoul, he will get the 2nd spot along with Falcane.
He's probably got the longest hard day of all because he's got to watch every... If he hasn't got to, if he's got any sense, he'll just hide under a bed for 6 hours and see what happened.
Zim is here somewhere, right?
But he's here.
He was
played,
competing. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, if it's the I think he earned $500 and maybe doing him a disservice. But it's the $500 or whatever it was he earned here that is putting him above the people who had no money.
Yes. As in Totosh. Say Totosh comes 2nd, that's why Zim's 2nd place.
Yeah, because he got something here.
Yeah, well, there you go. What a series. What a couple of series. I had the pleasure of casting the previous series with Derek that was a little bit insane. And then this series was amazing too, where world champion hunterace was taken down by DeadDraw. And DeadDraw joins Eddie, Totosh, and Kin as the 4 semi-finalists here at Masters Tour Bucharest. What a great lineup, Lorinda.
Absolutely superb. Obviously, it's not the hunterace orange lineup that I suspect many people would have liked to see.
That's fair.
But when you start with a great top 8, you get a great top 4, and that's where we're at.
That is where we're at. Of course, Kin, got to point this out again. I know it's a, I know it's maybe a different part of the world from a lot of people watching, but gold medalist in Hearthstone, like that in itself is a phenomenal achievement. You don't have a gold medal in Hearthstone. You watching right now, you don't, because he's the only one.
Kind of.
Unless you're Kin watching right now. In that case, I guess you do have a gold medal.
Someone in Twitch that Kin 053 was like, I do.
On that note, I believe that we are going to go to a very short break while we prepare for our semi-final games. Masters Tour Bucharest is almost over. Stay tuned for the rest of the tournament.